I just got here to the Kotel, also known as the Western Wall, which has over 2,000 years of history and some hidden parts that we're gonna go check out right now. Let's go take a look at the Western Wall tunnels.
Believe it or not, but the Western Wall we see today is actually a very small portion of the original. The wall itself goes for about half of a kilometer, and the history that's below it will absolutely blow your mind.
When we come here for the first time, we can actually see a vast portion of the wall that we actually are not aware of. We're going to try to figure out what's the story of the Western Wall, what happened that nowadays we only see a small portion outside.
There's tons of history revolving around the Western Wall and Jerusalem in general that we don't even know. For years, the experience of visiting the wall involved a certain amount of imagination. However, thanks to extensive archaeological work, today's visitors can experience elements of the original structure which haven't been available for generations.
1948, due to the war, Jerusalem was divided and Israel was beyond the walls of the old city. And only after 1967 did we return. So during that return to the old city, did we start excavating here. There's some fascinating findings that we're going to see.
Our first stop on the tunnel tours is a quick explanation of how the old temple was built, the walls around it, what happened to it, and what we see now.
But you see these arches on the left. This is part of ancient construction, right?
Right.
This is part of a bridge that went here 2,000 years ago.
Okay, wow.
So here we are.
Here we are.
That's the wall.
Wow.
Right here.
I have chills.
So this over here is an average stone in the Western Wall. As you can see, it's not that large, but this goes in about 1.5 meters inward, right?
Ooh.
And this is local limestone from the hills of Judea, and what we call Jerusalemite stone. But you can imagine a stone like this weighing between 1.5 to 3 tons. This is the largest stone in the entire construction of the Western Wall. Okay, it's almost 12 meters long.
Wow.
And some say that it's about 570 tons. Okay, it goes a few meters inward. If you want to see the top part of it, it goes up pretty high. You see the top here is quite crooked.
Yeah.
It's not straight and beautiful like the chiseling
bottom, yeah.
of the original. And that's because the destruction level is right above us.
It's not a proper visit to the Kotel unless you get blessed by an adorable lady.
Baruch, אתה אדוני, אלוהינו, מלך העולם,
נותן ריח טוב.
נותן ריח טוב בפירות. אמן. תודה. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
You see that we're underground inside a water cistern, which is nicely plastered all over it, okay, to hold water, contain water. This is how people lived here for thousands of years, up until 1967.
This could be pretty brutal.
So we're about to enter a tunnel, basically walking alongside the Western Wall.
I warned you I was claustrophobic, yet you're bringing me through this tunnel. Okay. We'll survive.
You'll do great.
Now, before we enter these narrow tunnels, let's say a little prayer.
My little prayer. Let's go to the tunnel. This is the actual wall to the right of us?
Mm-hmm. We're walking alongside it.
I am in the Western Wall tunnels right now, underground. It's a little claustrophobic, but so worth it. There's 2,000 years of history, culture, religions, different people that were here, different stories, and I'm just so blessed to be here and learn all about it.
This is the street that we were just at, and here you see the end of the street. And that's exactly where we are, because now we're standing on the original pavement from 2,000 years ago, and you walk here on the street and you come to a dead end. Okay,
this was a dead end.
This is the end of the street. As you can see, this looks exactly like a construction site that was never completed. 2,000 years ago, we would be looking up and seeing the beautiful sky. It's not just a piece of history and archaeology that's detached from our current time. This is where we connect to our heritage. This is where we connect to our ancestors that were here 2,000 years ago, coming together as one. And the destruction came out of the idea of the disunity of Jerusalem. And here we are. We want to learn from our past, and we want to look into the future, to the bright future.
There's of course so much more to see here at the Western Wall tunnels and so much history and excavation to be learned about. But for that, you'll have to come and check it out for yourself. However, I just have one last question. Why do people come to the wall to pray out loud, yet still write notes and place them in the cracks of the Western Wall?
I remember as a child coming to the Western Wall with my father, and he'd write a note and he'd put it inside, and I asked him what's this about, and he said, if I have a question, then I write it down and I put it inside the wall, and eventually I get the answer.